How you doing, mate? What you been up to? What's going on in the world of Lefty?
Man,
Super artist.
I'm doing well. I'm enjoying life. I'm enjoying California at the moment. I just went to Chicago for All-Star Weekend. Did some work out there, but I'm happy to be out of the tundra.
Is it cold?
It is a tundra. Yeah, so this is so different.
Mate, so good. What are we on now? We're on like 70 or something like that.
Yes.
70 degrees, sorry.
At least, yeah.
And what sort of temperature are we on in Chicago?
Probably 0 to 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, 0 to 10. You know, that's not a...
That's not for me, man. That is not El Camino weather.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, no windows down in the El Camino over there.
No, you're just in there with like 3 puffer jackets, windows rolled up.
I don't actually own a winter jacket on purpose.
I'm just going to move this closer.
Sure. Yeah. I don't own a winter jacket on purpose because I don't want to submit myself to being cold, so I'd rather, and you know, it's not like I'm really outside that much, like you're just walking from an Uber door to the door of wherever you're going, so it's like I'd rather just wear a leather jacket, wear whatever I want and be okay, wear a hoodie.
That's the kind of life that Lefty is leading. He doesn't need to own a jacket because he only walks from the Uber to the front door. Teach me to be like you, man. That's
I got you.
That's crazy. I'm into that though, man. I don't have a jacket either, a cold weather jacket, and I'm the same. I will not submit to setting that intention of
exactly.
I might be cold. No, I'm not going to be fucking cold.
Right.
I'm going to avoid the cold at all costs.
Exactly.
Dude, speaking of El Caminos, we just rode over here in your El Camino.
Vroom, vroom.
Oh, it's so sick.
Thank you.
It's so sick, man. Can we like
black on black?
Black on black, dude. I mean, so for those who don't know, like Lefty's probably got like your artwork's insanely sick, and your kind of signature, like what do we call it? Like design pattern.
Yeah, pattern line work
is awesome. What's the thinking behind that? 'Cause to me, it kind of looks like. Is it amoebas? Is that the right word? This kind of like bacteria's growing and...
Totally. People definitely relate it to a lot of different things in science, like that exactly. Brains, cell growth, coral reef. People often, you know, it's crazy because you'll see stingrays swimming in the ocean and it'll already have my pattern on it, which is kind of wild. I love seeing stuff like that, and people always send me photos of like different things in nature. But yeah, that's what it represents, life and the way that it grows, you know, micro and macro in the sense where it could be small and invisible, or it can be large and in your face, or energies that are moving through environments. That's what it's dark and light at the same time, if that makes sense.
It does, man. It does. And I love the patterns in nature, because it's so true. You do see that. And I was watching something recently where, have you seen this, where it's kind of like you put some like sand on top of a speaker, on top of a board, and then different kind of like sounds or frequencies create like different patterns, and some look kind of chaotic, others are completely symmetrical. It's insane.
Yeah, I would love to tap into that more so and figure out exactly like this pattern is this, and because that was another thing I was going to reference is sound as well, because you actually, like you said, that sort of speaker test or that thing, like you do see similarities in sort of condensed line work and very tight woven things. Something I think about all the time is like practical applications of like my pattern itself. Like for instance, like what if it drains water 20% faster than parallel grades or circular, you know what I mean? Like or like the actual strength of it as a platform, you know, because like a lot there's differences in that, and like different sort of, like I've actually found that from laser cutting stuff, laser cutting materials, that my pattern is a little bit stronger than other things because it's so woven that it's kind of like there's more points, if that makes sense. Yeah, because you know, if you're having a super long strip, it's gonna concave in the middle, right? But with the pattern, it's so woven and it's so like dense at the same time that it actually like stands up a little bit better, and it's actually a little bit more like, it's not as rigid as other things are. Yeah,
and it's true. So with your pattern, I'm right in thinking that if you did like laser cut a huge sheet of it, no parts would fall out. It's like a perfect stencil.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
Because every part of it is connected to every other part.
No two lines touch.
Yeah.
So, all right. No incomplete, shapes or anything like that.
Mate, the possibilities are endless.
That could be sick. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I obviously, that's way out of my wheelhouse, is like scientific testing and all that stuff, like physics or engineering. That's not my wheelhouse. But I would love for someone to give it to somebody in those hands and see what they could do or see what's possible.
Do you know who you should talk to? A big friend of Secret Walls is a guy called Reeps One. And Reeps is, he's a beatboxer. And when we met Reeps, it was like back in the beginning of Secret Walls when it first started. Like he was a kid. He's probably like 17. And he was just coming up in the beatbox world, right? But he was sick. But the way this relates to what you're saying is he has now like transcended beatboxing so far that I think he's like a Harvard University lecturer, or he has some degree, some honorary degree, because of the fact that he's gone so far down the rabbit hole on the science behind speech and the noises that you make with your mouth. You should check out his Instagram, man. There's some awesome videos of like him beatboxing, what's happening like in his brain while it's going on, and the way he has related like science and technology back to his art form is sick.
That is cool. I want an honorary degree.
You'll get one, mate.
I want one of those. Just
ring him up and be like, how'd you get that?
Yeah, who's your connect?
I might get one as well. I might get one for podcasting.
There you
go. Mate, we were talking about El Caminos.
Yes.
This is what I love about my own podcast, the fact that it's all about going off on tangents. So we'll do that some more. But yeah, we just rode over here in the El Camino. You didn't drive it over to begin with. It's so sick. And even though we were on a schedule, like, we're all busy, we've got to get this podcast done. We were like, fuck that. Let's go back to downtown and bring over the El Camino. So what's the deal with that?
Well, the El Camino was brought to me by a brand named Stolen. They're a liquor company that I connected with over in Chicago. They actually have a few different El Caminos painted by a few artists. I know Junkyard is one. Mm-hmm. Mine is another. And yeah, they kind of noticed I was spending time in LA, so I originally painted it at Complex Con in Chicago. And they kind of, it was one of those things, when people mention like, oh yeah, like, you can borrow it whenever you want, but like they don't actually mean it.
Yeah.
They actually meant it.
Yeah.
That's one of the beautiful things. I mean, they're actually great people. Like, side note, like, they're actually amazing brand. I've really enjoyed working with them so far. But it's just cool that like they really truly are letting me use it and are letting me enjoy it. And I drove it to the West Side yesterday, went to the beach with friends. Like, it's such a different vibe driving an old car. This is the first older car I've ever driven. I've always had like newer or whatever cars, basic stuff. But this is just it's different. Like, you almost like lose yourself in the moment, and you forget like what time era it is. Because like the radio doesn't work in there. So sometimes if you don't bring a Bluetooth speaker, you're not bumping music. So you're like just windows down, you're cruising on the fucking highway, listening to nothing, just thinking, and you're just like, wow, like this is what it was like. Like, this is like a taste of like different times, the engine, the way it sounds, like it's really got like a rumble to it. Like it's like a true like muscle car. It's been so awesome. I've had it for like a little bit over a week now, and it's been one of the coolest things that's happened to me since being in LA. Honestly.
Mate, it's dope, man. It is. It's like a proper experience being in there. And you're right. It's funny that, isn't it? I mean, obviously, I guess if you've got like something really powerful, like a Lamborghini or something, you probably you know that you're in a car when you're driving it. But I definitely noticed that as well. It's like when you're in that car, you're aware, really aware that you're in there. The sound of the engine, and you're kind of like bumping along. A lot of that gets edited out of new cars because it's just so smooth, and that's the point. They're trying to make it as comfortable as possible. You forget that you're even traveling.
Yeah, and I don't like that, honestly. Like for instance, the other day I was skateboarding, and a Tesla was pulling out of a car garage, and you can't hear it. It was whipping out of a car garage, and of course I was whipping on my skateboard, but I was doing whatever. I should have been more aware. They should have been more aware. But I've been noticing that more and more with electric and hybrid cars, is it's like you can't hear it. Like, whether you're bicycling and like there's so much going on, and you don't know that there's a Prius right next to you because you can't hear it. That's the thing. Like with other normal cars, you hear the engine, you know their presence. But I was so close to hit. This car was so close to hitting me. I was close to hitting it. It was a mutual thing. He wasn't upset. He didn't beep at me or anything because he knows if he would have hit me, it would have been bad for him. But like still, it was one of those things where it's like, I feel like at some point they're gonna come up with some other, like how like deer in the country, they have like those cones that when the air pushes in, it makes a high pitched sound. Like they're gonna have to make something like that for electric vehicles because there's gonna be too many cases where too many issues like that, where people are getting hit because you don't even know that they're there. No,
mate, you don't. They do. They need to do that. Why can't they just have big speakers on the outside? Do you know what I mean? Rumbling.
Bumping techno or whatever.
Some of those Teslas are like, they're awesome looking, right?
Oh, so amazing. They look sick.
They're just gliding along like they're being pushed. You know, why not have a speaker that's putting out a rumble? I say that all the time. I'm surprised that more people don't get hit. I was, me and my girlfriend went out a few weeks ago, like late night, like midnight, just to go down. I think we were going down to get like a milkshake or something like that from a drive-through. And, there was this Tesla like right up behind me, just being a bit of a dick, and I was like, fuck's sake. I moved out the way and it shot off, and I literally said to her, like, look how quick that's going and like how erratic that person's driving. You can't hear anything. It's crazy. We go and get a milkshake, the place is shut, so we got to go further down the original road where we saw the Tesla. 2 minutes later, because we diverted to get the milkshake, came back, someone was lying in the middle of the street, like just fucked, a shoe like a few feet down the road, and they're just like, bless them, they're lying in the middle of the street. I'm like, I bet you it was that Tesla. We look at like the next day on Twitter, and it was the like they had a pic of the Tesla. Yeah, man, and same thing, like 100%, like you know, we called it, and 100%, you know, that dude, it was like this poor dude, like you know, I hope he was all right, but you know that he was probably just right, I'm just gonna run across the street. Tesla coming at like God knows what speed. You can't hear it.
They're quick.
No chance.
They're quick. It's like 0 to 60 in like 2 seconds. Like that's kind of cool. I mean, a little bit of that, a little bit of noise. Like they could just combine them together. You know?
Yeah. Just put some speakers on the outside. Still though, they are sick looking. What are you going to paint a Tesla? You've got a few vehicles on your Instagram. You've got a few vehicles in your portfolio.
That that was one of the things. It was like. I'm a big car guy. I love cars, and I've been begging people to let me paint cars. You know, I've always been like, hey, like what's going on? Because I see so many people on the scene doing it, and I'm always like hitting people up, being like, oh, let me do this, or let me paint your car or your whatever. And didn't happen for years, and then all of a sudden I did one, and 4 or 5 follow. You know what I mean? I've done an RV, done a couple mopeds, things like that. It just took the
dirt bike.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I did the dirt bike for Red Bull.
Range Rover.
Basel. The Range Rover. I forgot about that.
I'm like your biggest fan.
I have a bad memory.
I'm like your biggest fan.
I really have a horrible memory.
This is what happens when you've got to do a little bit of research on your guest.
Well, it's good, though, because I forgot about these things.
You did this?
Yeah, no. But you're right. Those were super cool.
And again, mate, the pattern. What do you have a name for that pattern? Is it just the Lefty pattern?
It's squiggles or marks.
That's cute, bro.
I like marks. That's the thing. It started as squiggles, but you know what? I'm starting to think that it doesn't match my tone as much. I'm not like a squiggly kind of guy. I'm not like
bruh, I do squiggles.
Like, yeah, exactly. I'm not like, some artists that do line work like that, like, Mr. Doodle or whatever, like it fits him if he calls him something like that. But I think
he's I'm got like a squeaky voice and
yeah, exactly.
Has he got a squeaky voice?
More positive. He has a very characterized voice. Yeah. He's like animated as hell. Like if I ever had to do that, or if I felt like that was my persona, I wouldn't be happy with myself. I wouldn't.
You don't ever feel like putting on like a clown suit.
He's a dope dude.
Doing squiggles.
No, he's a dope dude, and like his art is super sick. But like, I don't know. I never could see myself doing that. I feel like I have a more serious tone. I want my work to be more serious as well. So I feel like I want to transition into calling them marks.
Yeah.
But it's gonna take a while because other people know squiggles. Like that's like everyone's terminology. I made that. Because I used to call them lines, but obviously now that I draw straight lines a lot, it got confusing. I had to differentiate. So I was like, okay, squiggles, because that's what they look like or whatever. But now I think, marks is a fitting
Marks
term.
is cool. I do like squiggles as well, though. I think, that's all good. I mean, either way, they are sick. Like,
Thank you.
Yeah, it's dope, mate, it's dope. And
I kind of want a Tesla or something so that you can do it.
I
on
will
there.
gladly do it.
Yeah.
A bunch of my friends as well. We all have decals on the car. So all my like close mates, like my best friends, we all have like they have like a little patch on their car. So I mean, I have those and I roll around. And whoever says like, hey, I want a patch, like I'll put it on their car. If it's there and I have the stickers, I'll put it on. And that stuff lasts. Like they've had it on there for years. It doesn't affect the car too much. It does affect it slightly. Like if you have it on for years and you leave it in the sun, like the color underneath the sticker is going to be different than the color of the car. But besides that, it doesn't peel the paint off. It's meant for that. It's meant for cars.
Sold, mate. I'm sold.
Let me do it, please. I love it.
I'm driving around in my girlfriend's car at the minute, but we just put it on.
Yeah.
Whatever,
I want ideally everyone's car would have it. That would be that's the dream.
Just a little patch of marks growing.
This car is really nice too because I'm anticipating it. It's kind of the perfect car for an artist essentially. Because it's not a massive pickup and it's not like a regular car. It's like literally the baby of both of those things. So like transporting pieces and wood and materials in the back. Like I'm gonna do a mural this weekend. I'm gonna literally roll up to the wall with everything in the trunk and not even have to take any of it out. Like it's gonna stay. The cans are gonna stay in there. Like it's super convenient. It's
little workhorse.
Exactly. It's not like it's typically I have to rent a U-Haul or borrow somebody's truck, but now I got it. I got a truck.
You can have the paint in the back, the music blasting out, right?
Yes.
Whiskey. The Stolen X whiskey under the seat. They got those little cans.
As long as I'm not driving.
For other people.
Yes, of course. Yeah, to pass out.
Right, you can have the whiskey in the car, right?
Yeah.
There's no law against that. It just can't be open.
I think it's supposed to be in the trunk.
Right.
It can't be open, and the container can't be open.
Okay. Well,
so
we can put.
I follow
we'll
the
put
rules.
We'll put it in the trunk.
Exactly. That's what it's for.
But it's an instant party. It's like a party vehicle.
I love it.
For a party boy.
Always.
Are you a party boy?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love my music. I love my partying. Music is one of my favorite things, honestly. Like it's probably my biggest hobby is like going to see like different DJs and performers and traveling to go to see them in like cool places. Like this isn't a cool place, but the most recent person I saw was Dennis Horvath. He's like a predominant techno DJ off Afterlife and Intervision's label.
I just nod my head like I know.
Yeah, he's awesome. Exactly. That's most people do, but if you know him, he's great. He's got a good sound. Just saw him at a underground rave this last weekend. I'll go to Ibiza, go to Mexico, go to New York. Like if I know a specific European DJ is coming to the US, like I'll go and see it. Or also it works out because, like in this career that we're in, artists, like I'm usually going to Art Basel or the Super Bowl or All-Star Weekend, and so are those people. So I also get to see them naturally because I'm there already. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be in New York already doing whatever gigs I'm doing, and then it so happens that like this really dope DJ that's never in America is here, so I'm gonna go and see them.
Amazing.
Make an effort to go.
Mate, you need to get the soundboard and the sand on top of the soundboard, and then play that music. Right.
And once I find the right DJ that makes the notes, I have to show them.
Yeah.
Present it to them. I'm going to do something pretty cool coming up. I'm doing some visuals for this DJ, I Hate Models, another European cat. Their name is as cool as their music.
Is it one person or a few?
I'm actually not sure.
How many of them hate models?
I'm not sure.
Because if there's more than one, that's dangerous territory.
They must really have some stories.
You don't want a gang. Are they all dudes?
I think it's two dudes. Yeah.
Gang of dudes walking around hating models.
I think it's two guys. Yeah.
It's dangerous.
No. It's definitely there. It's a play on words for sure. It's probably just a commentary on the scene of that. But yeah,
I'm sure they love models.
They're coming to LA on the 6th, March 6th, and I'm trying to do visuals for them, which is like projections, LEDs, and showing like animations and a bunch of like analog clips that I've been making over the years.
Yeah, that's dope, man. Have you got your marks animated?
Yes.
Like growing out?
Yes. Yeah.
Because I remember doing like a buddy of mine when I was working at a design studio called I Love Dust, Dan. He showed me all these like Photoshop techniques where
And one of them wasn't a million miles away from that, you know, from your pattern, where you literally like grow out these crazy patterns by like, you know.
That's called reaction diffusion.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah. I hate that thing.
You hate it.
I hate it and I love it. You know.
Why'd you hate it?
Because it's like, you know,
cheating.
It's kind of on my line of style, and it's just different. You know, it's not as organic. I feel like, because people use it in their artwork, but I know how they created it, and it's like you said, it's clicking. You know what I mean? I feel like there's a little bit more craftsmanship in mine, and I feel like it diminishes the amount of craftsmanship and people interpretation of like what my stuff looks like. But I think that like people already know, so it's like thankfully I've already missed that. Yeah. You know, it's never going to be big enough of an issue for me, because I think people already recognize that. They think that looks like my stuff, as opposed to people saying.
Yeah, but mate, like to be honest, in a world of street art where the vast majority of stuff you're looking at is just appropriated or reappropriated anyway, you know. And I'm on board with it. I think it's great. I don't think it would really stand out as like you're copying a Photoshop technique, right? You know. But my point was that when we did it, it essentially animated, and I could imagine that would look sick. It's trippy as fuck with music, right?
Yeah, the animating files like that, and like you said, like having something growing from 1 line to 4,000 lines it's a lot of editing, a lot of button pushing.
It's a lot of stop motion.
A lot, exactly, and it's a lot of, you know, doing different. I've done it all different ways as well. I've done it analog with, like, I've taken laser cut pieces and placed them down and taken a photo each time, and done that route. But then I've also done it digitally. So what, like
laser cut stencils? So you're watching the paint grow, or like
the actual piece. So the
like
the
a
positive
piece of plastic.
The squiggle that comes out of the cut. I'll use that and place that on a thing, and like have a stationary camera. I'm usually working with someone else, because I don't do camera work. So, you know, we'll be having it stationed, and then I'll be slowly placing each piece back in place. I've done it that route, but obviously, like with the digital animations, there's the possibilities are endless. Yeah. You know, you can really make them wisp away, seep, drip. Like, you know, I'm more about like, what I've noticed with animations, everyone's going 100%. I'm more about the 20%, where things are so subtly moving that you almost don't know that they're moving, where things are growing from fading from black into existence, seeping. Like, I'm more about like the slow, beautiful motions.
You like that trippy shit. You like that fear and loathing in Las Vegas, wallpaper, melting.
Exactly.
Shit.
I want it to be, because it becomes too animated and too like unrealistic at a point. You know what I mean? I like to kind of trick people, or to make them think that it's believable. Because that's like, you know, ideally, like if I was to create a world or a cartoon, that's what it would be. It would be, you know, it'd be subtly on the ground, it'd be on the walls, it'd be on the furniture, it'd be on people's skin, you know, and at different measures. It's not going to be all high contrast black and white. I want it to be subtle and like creepy in a sense. You know? Because that's much more effective. And people make that mistake. It's like an amateur mistake, that people think that you got to be flashy and go 100% all the time. That's not how you captivate, because there's no arc. Like, visual performance is just like any other performance. There has to be an arc. If you're just giving everyone 100%, they're gonna get bored of it quickly. You have to roll it in. You have to make it. Then when that 100% hits, people are like, holy shit! Like, I'm in it. Like, this is fucking taking over my eyes. Like, that's how you do it. And you know, that's building suspense. Comes with practice.
Subtle motion, and then building towards the big climaxes.
Exactly.
Do you mess around with trippy drugs?
Yeah.
Does that help?
I have. It's not a
something you want to talk about.
People think that I do more so. That's something that people pin me for, but I honestly don't. I don't need it.
Yeah, right.
It's honestly like, it's very much, you know, I feel like it doesn't take much for me to like push myself off of the norm, or, you know, I feel like I just visually, I have different eyesight. I know it sounds crazy. I've gotten my eyes tested and they are above average, but I feel like they are substantially like above average. I can truly read things from very far away. So that plays into like just the amount of awareness that I see visually is much different than the average person.
Mate, you're sounding like a superhero now.
I can't see through walls or anything, but I'm telling you, like, little textures, like, but that's the other thing. Like,
can you laser cut with your eyes?
If I could, I'd be a lot richer. That's for sure.
Yeah, right. You save a lot of money on stencils.
No, but just like little, like the textures of metal, like the painted metal looks like my art sometimes. Like just simple. If you really look close to like powder coating or textures of different fabrics, like you'll see like that sort of same thing that we're talking about that comes from heat, like heat growth and all that stuff. Like that sort of thing. Like that's stuff that I always paid attention to and always have. And like even when I was a little kid, sometimes I look at things like an inch away. You know what I mean? Like I'll fully dive into whatever I'm looking at. You know what I mean? Just because like I really want to experience it, and like I don't know, you might catch something out of it. Like,
no, I'm fully backing what you're saying, and you come across as a connected person, like you know, so I can imagine that is the case. But I'm with you. You need to be a connected person to start noticing those crazy little like intricacies, you know, in life. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, I'm just like you. I'm the same. But I'll do the same thing sometimes when I'm eating. I just feel like there's not a thought in my head, and I'm sort of like eating some cereal or whatever it is, and as it's like a couple inches away from my eyes, I'm like, whoa. You know, and you start noticing all the little like sugar crystallizations. Not that I'm eating cereal with sugar on, whatever it is. Of
course not.
The healthy equivalent.
The glazed, like the sugar glazed on milk.
Yeah.
Like the little, like the patterns and stuff.
Yeah. Were you one of those kids that would like sit by a fire and just
I would look too close.
Parents worried like this kid is going to grow up to be a fucking arsonist because you're just there like lost?
Yes, I was looking at everything. I think my parents were really confused. I think they were confused about a lot of things. They were kind of scared. But I mean, the few times that I have experimented with things like that, you know, and mind bending things, I've always tried to create. I don't like to do it at like a concert. Like I'm not doing it to just like, I'm doing it to try to like push through mental bounds or try to fucking, you know, piece things together.
Have an experience, like a creative experience, rather than like what's the word I'm looking for when you do it for fun?
Just life experience. Yeah, that stuff doesn't excite me. Like I need to be like
recreationally. Yeah,
recreational. No, yeah. I like to like really try to like go if I'm gonna do something like that, or because it's a tool. You know what I mean? It's a tool. It can be used well and you know to benefit you. And I feel like that's the way to do stuff like that. You can really like. If you sit down and think about life, you know, it's the truth comes out.
Well, that's what them lot in Silicon Valley do every weekend, right? Mm-hmm. They're doing it for a purpose. They want to go straight into the mainframe. Yeah. So they'll just do a bunch of acid, see what answers they can get.
Exactly. I don't, but like I said, it doesn't. You know, it's been quite some time, and I don't do it as much as I should.
Oi. Yeah. Have you ever done ayahuasca?
No, that would be sick though.
Yeah.
I think definitely before I die I would like to do that. Yeah. There's that has to be crossed off the bucket list.
Yeah, I want to do it too, man. I mean, I'm a bit funny with drugs in general, because I think I like when I was, you know, I used to smoke a lot of weed, a lot of skunk when I was a kid, and I just kind of lost my way a little bit. And obviously, look, I'm all for, like, you know, I love it when people smoke weed around me and what it kind of does for most people or for certain people. But for me, I just think the pure volume of it, and it also is, you know, I'm 36 now. This was like a good sort of 16 to 20 years ago. The stuff that we were getting was so strong. I don't know, so like they fucked with it so much. Mm-hmm. Like we would weigh this stuff up and my arms would come out in like little hives. Like I don't know what was kind of being, you know, used to grow it, but I psyched myself out, man, to the point where I was literally like hearing voices and stuff, smoking it. And that is kind of really...
That happens.
Yeah. So now when I think about like acid or even mushrooms and even ayahuasca, which is something I really want to do, I just have this kind of like fear sitting in the back of my mind, which is like, oh, what if you, you know, what if you do just kind of flip out and like lose your way? But I've spoken to a bunch of people who've done ayahuasca and some of them kind of similar to me in their relationship with other like addictive things that have done it and been like, it's crazy, it's intense, and brutal, but you know, there is a kind of like a underlying sense of calm where even though you're kind of facing up to a lot of like intense things, you don't feel like you're going to lose your way, you know. You feel like you're going to come back.
Yeah, it's all about the environment that you set up to, you know, like. Exactly, because that's the other thing. If you're in public at a concert venue, that's not really like a comfortable space to be at. Or if you're in public in general, like it's much better to be comfortable, and like that sort of stuff can like really propel your mental state and like what you're seeing, and because you're being influenced by everything that you're seeing, so you want to be influenced by the best things that you possibly can. You want to curate that precious experience, so you want to make sure that you do it right. I think you gotta do it. You know, if you're doing it, you gotta do it right.
I agree 100%, man. And we were talking as well before we came on about music and how much that plays a part in your art. You're always listening to music while you're creating, right?
Insane. That's probably my favorite part about this job, is that I can truly enjoy music. Like, it's like, you know, 16 hours a day bumping music, whether it's in headphones or I have really good sound systems in both my studios. They're ridiculous, you know, and that's kind of like.
Wait, you got two studios?
I do. I have a studio in Chicago and a studio here.
You got no jacket. You only walk from Uber doors to front doors, and you got two studios.
You gotta create.
And you went to the Super Bowl.
Not this year, but yes, I was outside. Yeah. So.
And we were also talking about. So when you're creating with music on, like when you make your art, do you like trance out on it? You know?
Totally.
Yeah. I imagine, especially with like the way, you know, the way a lot of your work looks.
I like the music to be so loud that you feel it.
Oh, really?
Like the bass, I like the
techno,
bass because it's all about the consistencies, you know, because like once you get into that same like heartbeat state and your heart rate either elevates or, you know, because you can control your heart rate that way by playing a certain BPM of music. So let's say like you're really dialed in, you're at performance mode, you're staying consistent. And what I've noticed about techno is the flow is consistent, so you stay consistent. Hip hop is like heavy for a second, then they dial it back for the verses and the choruses and the intros.
Yeah.
And some of the intros are way too dialed down, and you lose that sort of heartbeat and that momentum, but like and that like hyper focus. But if the techno never stops and you don't really even notice sometimes when the song changes, it's like you're dialed in, you're never stopping that like momentum and that like. I like to kind of paint like I'm like almost like scared, you know. It's like that. Like I like to be so in it that it's almost like I'm like jittery like that.
Well, a lot of
like
techno, man. I mean, I'm not like I really like the techno that I hear, but I wouldn't consider myself like a fan. Like I don't know who's who and what's what, but it definitely has like when I've been out to warehouse raves in downtown and I'm listening to techno, that's what I do love about it. It does have this feeling like you're at a very consistent level, but it does kind of feel like, oh fuck, something's about to happen.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
And I don't know what. It's
so
a bit like
focused and aware. It makes you aware.
Yeah,
exactly.
But that is insane. I love what you were saying about. I'd never thought of it like that. The fact that. Yeah, if you're listening to hip hop or pop or anything else, or not anything else, but a lot of other things, it's a lot harder to get into that personal rhythm because there's ebbs and flows.
Yeah, and it's different for different styles because my style of painting is so dive in and consistency. But if you were a different kind of a portrait artist and you're making broad gestures and big marks, hip hop might be better for you because it does give you that sort of like, I feel like hip hop gives you more of a confidence vibe where you're like, okay, like I gotta make a mark, I gotta like this one's gotta count.
I'm the
like,
motherfucking best.
Exactly, like yeah, exactly. So if I want to do something like that, I put on some hip hop, I'll bump that shit. But like if I'm trying to paint the cleanest lines I've ever made, it's all about the 4 on the floor techno.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
So I curate a playlist on Spotify. It's called Out There Naturally. It's 104. I think it's 140 tracks right now. It's very curated though, because clearly all I do every day is listen to this one playlist. So it's very curated and very like tailored. But I really happy with it.
So if I go and listen to that, man, I'm gonna be trying to do some design work, but it's just gonna end up looking like Lefty
Maybe.
marks.
Or it's
just all over. I'll be going down to the garage in my building, like fucking painting all over the Range Rovers and the Teslas.
I thought you wanted this.
Have some of that. Be a silent car. Mate, speaking of cars, what was the McDonald's vehicle about? What was that?
I forgot it. That was pretty.
I'm
sick.
telling you, mate.
That was pretty
Instagram.
sick.
I don't like. Do you know what? I don't know how anyone interviewed anyone else before Instagram.
I know. You had to really do some
research, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I painted. That was an interesting event as well. So, Juice WRLD, R.I.P. Juice WRLD. He had a private performance put on by McDonald's in Chicago, and part of that performance was like painting this car. It was like an '80s Mustang.
Yeah.
And like they were very specific about how they wanted it to look. It was very much like they had other elements. It wasn't all about the pattern. Like it had like some text, it had some graffiti letters, it had like their emblem on the front. And by the way, I'm a huge fan of McDonald's. I get a lot of flack for that, but I don't care. I love it. You know, and I'm not going to be one of those haters and say that I don't love. I love McDonald's.
That's interesting.
I'm proud.
I do
to have worked for McDonald's.
I do too. I mean, I love a Big Mac. I do. But what I like about McDonald's from a creative level is just the branding. I just think whether whether you like it or don't like it, and I understand why people don't like it. You know, I've heard they at times have not been like the most model company, but their branding is sick, and well, that's okay to think that. You know,
I think so. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's just one of those things. You know, it's like something that you always like essentially dream about growing up, being like, oh man, I want to work for McDonald's, but you never conceive how that's going to be possible. But you're like, man, that would be so. It's just, it feels cool to collaborate with brands like that.
Unless you go and actually work in McDonald's, and then I think I never
mate, thought that was.
You could roll in and be like a manager straight away. I reckon. No, I'm kidding. That's really mean. Like, you know, the managers of McDonald's probably make decent money. But anyway, bro, sorry. Getting back to the '80s Mustang.
Yes.
You're painting the McDonald's car.
Some of it was live. Some of it was before.
What was the event like? What were they trying to celebrate? What were they doing?
They were literally throwing like a free concert for like 2,000 Juice WRLD fans, like his super fans. Because I guess
crazy.
He's from Chicago as well, and I didn't even know that. I've seen him perform a few times, but we've never like connected or anything like that. And yeah, so I mean, and also super cool. That's the thing. Like companies like that, they're like supporting me. They're supporting Juice WRLD. They don't need to do that. They don't need to have live painting artists at their events, but they do because that's them like caring for the community. They're giving back to us, like to the world. You know what I mean? In their own sense. Yes, they're like a tyrant and they make billions of dollars, but they're also like doing super cool things like that. You know, like I admire when big companies go out of their way to support artists.
Yeah.
And that was the whole concert. They threw a free concert that probably cost hundreds of thousands of dollars for just promotion for their company, but also so like fans could see. It was a really cool event because he had like his whole like family on stage, and like one of the things I remembered most was he had like I don't know if it was his brother or cousin, but there was like a 8 or 9 year old kid up there with him, like, and this kid was loving it. Yeah. And he was literally high-fiving everyone in the crowd. He was like, Juice WRLD would run out and like so would this little kid, and like he was like this kid's gonna be a rapper someday, mark my words. He like was feeling it, like he was loving this like life and this performance thing, and I just thought it was so cool that like just watching this little kid was like super cool. Like I was like, wow, that kid's like awesome. Like I wish I had balls like that to be like on stage like slapping people's hands and shit and rapping the lyrics with his like cousin or brother or whatever. Like it was super cool to see. I don't know.
This mad man, and that obviously Juice WRLD is the guy. What happened to him again? He was on a plane, right?
Yes.
And maybe you'll tell the story better, but he was he was on a plane, as I understand it. He was on a plane and it was coming into land, and the plane was about to get busted, or like the cops were going to search it, and it maybe I might be telling this story all wrong, but in the panic of him not wanting to like get caught in possession of drugs. And I think like some of his mates who were on the plane might have had guns or whatever it was. He like swallowed a bunch of them.
Apparently, yeah. I as well.
Yeah,
I don't know
that's
the facts,
it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a fucked up story, man.
Yeah, he was young. It sucks. Makes you think about life.
Yeah.
So.
And it's weird. There's a lot of it seems like a lot of rappers are kind of going out in sort of crazy like news headline style ways recently. You know,
Yeah.
it's fucked up.
I know.
Well, anyway, moving on. But mate, so yeah. Speaking of commercial work, I mean, you touched upon it there, really, with McDonald's. So that's cool. I like that about you. I like what you said. Like, look, I like the brand, and I guess that kind of is something that you carry on with other brands, like, right? You're not someone who's kind of afraid to like do commercial work.
No, and all the commercial work I've done is like very much I'm in control of the creative. Like, it's not like nobody is bossing me around. I'm not painting Ronald McDonald. You know, I'm painting my shit. Like, it's very much in my control, and they trust me creatively. I mean, my brand work the list is dense. You know, like I couldn't as well, you can tell I can't even remember what I did last week. I cannot sit here. I couldn't even tell you all the different campaigns and different stuff that I've like been involved with, but they are very cool. Like the ones I can like think of, you know, it's like it consistently been great. Honestly, I had no complaints. They're very like understanding, and it's different than like private gallery sales. You know, like one of the things, like I'm not like an ass kisser, you know, and a lot of that like gets played into selling like artwork. You know, you have to like, a lot of people probably just buy artwork from other artists because they think they're cool and they're like giving them attention. You know what I mean? Like that's what I feel like I see is like that's like half the battle. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna go to your kid's soccer game or your kid's bar mitzvah to like sell your piece. You know,
is that what people are doing out here?
I think so.
Yeah,
I do see stuff like that.
Schmoozing,
and it's like, yes, of course that's business, and of course naturally, yeah, I do go to some people's kids' birthdays because I want to, but I'm just saying, like with brand work, it's much more cut and dry. It's much more, hey, we have this deadline, this is our budget, this is the creative. What can we do? How can we do this? And then everything works. Like, you know, I'm a very punctual person like that. Like that's the kind of business I like to do. It's not like this long game and all this like stuff that they're smoozing. Like I'm not going to smooze. Like I want to just like make art. Like I'm here to do this and make art, and like that's it. You know, that's what because I want to sell this piece so I can go make other art. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to keep this going, not just like dwell and do all this stuff. Like it's obviously part of the game, and it's part of being an artist and a salesman. You know, that is very much what it is. But I do really like working on brand stuff. Yeah. And it's a big impact. Like I've made something that has been reproduced hundreds of millions of times. Yeah. I did a different collaboration with Camel.
It's hard to do that shit on your own, right?
Of course, impossible. And that's what I'm saying. Like that's sort of like, that's fulfilling like a lifelong dream. Like my stuff was in 7-Eleven. Like that's sick.
Wait, so you did it with Camel, the cigarette brand?
Yes.
Another brand that's kind of awesome looking. What was the
It was 9 different packs because they have a couple different flavors, and it was a couple different packs.
In this country, there are still cigarette packs, right?
Yeah, there. Yeah.
Oh, you know, back in the UK where I'm from, there's like the design of a pack has gone.
Yeah, no, I was when I was there recently.
It's all hidden as well.
It was crazy. I was in the airport, and I went in the smoking room, and I feel really bad for the people that have to work there because it was wall to wall, horrendous pictures of like the most brutal, like you couldn't look anywhere in the smoking room of the in like the duty free tobacco room, because like sometimes they just have
to
it on
buy
the
the
shelf.
Cigarettes.
It was in London as well, and I was like, man, it was a room probably this size, and these people were literally like, these poor people have to work there for like however many hours a day, and like there was no place that you could look where you couldn't see the images. Like everybody knows the effects of smoking. And if you smoke, that's you understand what's happening. Like these people have to just sit there and be, obviously they probably get immune to it at some point, but like holy shit, it was overwhelming.
Just surrounded by holes in throats and tumors.
Yes,
and
the worst, like, you know, what happens. But you know, there's a lot of different, you know, I also do a lot of festival work, which laps over with the brands. Like I said earlier, it's always like focused on events, you know, so like this brand will be going to the Super Bowl and they want to have a presence, so it's like they're doing murals. I've done a lot of branded murals as well, you know, like stuff where I just did 2 in Santa Monica for a marijuana company, Cresco Labs. They had them, they were kind of close to each other, and like stuff like that, like they want a presence in a community, and you know, they are putting on, they're renting walls, they're doing there's a lot that goes into
those
these
weed
projects.
brands, bro, they've got some serious money, right?
Of course, yeah. And I mean, I've been chased by a lot of different weed companies, but Cresco, I waited for the right one. Cresco, I thought was a really good match. They have ties to Chicago as well, so I felt it just kind of the ducks kind of aligned, and I was like, okay, now I'm finally ready to work with a marijuana company, and you know, things have been going great with them as well. We're doing some other stuff. We're gonna be doing some product design, papers, trays, everything. You know, so it's gonna be great, and there's gonna be units. It's a lot of, you know what I mean, like I want stuff that's like impactful and high numbers out there, like that's like
sick. So what sort of products are you gonna make? What are they? Are they like a kind of store like MedMen?
They sell flour, so like flour and like oil and stuff.
Physical store, or
no, it's their presence in stores. So it's more of a brand, marijuana brand.
Yeah.
But yeah, they sell flour and like cartridges. So I might be designing like the batteries of the cartridges and like making like a pack, if you will. I don't want to give away too many details, but it's probably going to be released on 420. So it's kind of like a pack of like cool stuff.
Of course it is.
I don't want to give away the details of, because it's some unique items in there that it's not like I'm trying to go like a little, because obviously like that industry is flooded with artists and like different sort of like packaging and accessories and all that stuff. So I'm really trying to make something different, and I have something different that I haven't seen that much. So I'm really excited about that release because it's gonna be sick.
Top secret, mate.
It is secret.
I should start smoking weed again a little bit just to get back into it. I have been a little bit here and there.
Yeah, I mean California,
it's everywhere.
Chicago too now. Yeah, that as of January 1st, Chicago is legalized.
As of oh wow,
so super recent. Yeah,
mate. So that's where all the weed brands are flocking.
Yes,
right?
yeah. I mean, it's states one by one are going to continue to go. I don't know too much about the laws, but all I know is that you can smoke there.
Yeah.
So.
And the in terms of like commercial work, weed brands are pretty perfect to work with. I just feel like it seems like they're mostly kind of run by like stoners, cool people.
Yeah.
And it's so popular, they got shitloads of money as well.
Yeah, they do. One thing I noticed, which I think is also good about the legalization that affected me a lot, is graffitiing. A lot of times I'll be apprehensive to graffiti in the past because I had a little weed on me. So I'd be like, oh, fuck, I can't tag because if I tag, then it's a double whammy. But now it's fine. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a lot more like, that was always something I hated because I would always be like, oh, man, like I really want to hit this spot or I really want to write on this shit, but I'd be apprehensive because, like, again, like you have to be smart. You know, you can't be stupid. So now that's one less concern, like weight lifted off my shoulders. And everyone else's shoulder. You know, like most artists, like, probably have weed on them.
Yeah.
Generally, in my experience of.
So now you just got to worry about having the stolen X whiskey up the front of your car.
Exactly. You got to pay attention to the laws. You can't break them. You know, you got to be smart. So
no guns.
No guns. Yeah, I don't have a gun.
Don't go painting with weed, a gun, and
alcohol either.
And alcohol.
Because you can't have alcohol on the streets either.
In your car.
So, yeah.
Yeah, you can't. I'm pretty sure that you can't where I'm from as well. But I think we always would.
I think you can drink on the street.
Do you think
yeah,
so? I mean, sure. Everyone does. But yeah. I don't know if I've gone past a policeman and been like, cheers.
Yeah. I really liked London. I spent like 2 weeks there in November.
Yeah.
And I was in Shoreditch and Mayfair, I think, was the neighborhoods, and I really liked it, honestly. It was probably one of my favorite European cities. I graffitied a lot there. It was incredibly easy. People were open and like cool with it. You know, it's like kind of like, it depends on every city's different.
Like illegal spots or
only illegal? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I put up hundreds of pieces illegally, and it was welcomed at most places. And some people, even while I was doing it, were like, "Oh, Lefty, what's up?" Like, you know, like it was like super like welcoming. Whereas like here in LA, like everyone would be on their phone in 5 minutes and like calling the cops or be like, "There's a vandal here." Like it's literally like all they, you know, I see a vandal.
Was that sounded like a little Boston accent?
I don't know. It's an annoying lady accent.
It's those old ladies from Boston rolling around LA, calling the cops on people trying to do a bit of graffiti.
That's one thing also. Like, I'm jealous of people that grew up before me because you could get away with so much more on the street because it wasn't like, you know, they didn't have that. You'd have to run inside your house to get to the phone to call the cops. Now if somebody sees you doing graffiti, they can film you right away, and their friend is calling or whatever, their husband's calling, and it's like it's too hard.
Dude, you're so right, man. Do you know what? Not even just that, but it's like, imagine like getting into a fight and getting knocked out and just ending. It's one of my little irrational fears because I don't go around getting into fights, but just getting knocked the fuck out and then being like, oh great, it's ended up, you know, someone's there screaming world star, and before you know it, you're like on the
internet famous.
It's so true, man. It's like, it's just everything is, you know, forget CCTV. It's like we're monitoring ourselves, every bloody movement with a phone.
And I also feel like that is going to lead to the extinction of graffiti, that and CCTV, because there's literally and like, you know, because personal security cameras are everywhere, you know. People, they're so much more common even than like 5 or 10 years ago. There's so many, like most places, most businesses and homes like are starting to have cameras, and it's going to be like eventually you're not going to be able to get away with it because they're going to be able to track your movements. You're going to be caught in the act. It's literally like, I think that we are going to approach the end of graffiti.
But you know what's interesting to me? Because I think with like the rise of street art, graffiti almost, it's, you know, illegal graffiti is kind of, it gets drowned out anyway. So I feel like, you know, I love street art and I've always loved graffiti, but I'm definitely like more desensitized to seeing, you know, huge murals on fucking walls. They're everywhere, whether they're someone's personal bit of art, like a bit of street art, or a, you know, like in downtown, there's a few walls that are kind of like they're hand painted, but they're commercial spots. You know, they're Apple adverts.
Apple.
Right. So it's whether I'm seeing that or whether I'm seeing like just you know, whatever the fuck, like a Shepherd Fairy mural or whatever. That, like, there's so many huge murals everywhere that noticing little kind of like illegal spots, the impact is way less to me. And it's almost like, do people even care anymore to do it? You know, like back you'd see like like old photos of a train rolling through New York, and it's like, look at that, like this silver train with this piece on the side there, bang, city backdrop. But now it's just everywhere, you know what I mean? You've got graffiti. The backdrop to graffiti is like huge fucking building size murals. So, you know, they're like, and I don't know what my point is there. I'm not really complaining about it, but I think whether you think it's going to be drowned out through the fact that everything's being like monitored, or whether it's just going to drown out anyway, I think you're probably right.
Yeah, and like even like having a phone on you is the issue, because at some point you know, we're all gonna give up our locations, you know, and it's like they can start pinning you for the place, like, oh no, you know, your phone. And if like, let's say like like I watch like Black Mirror and all that stuff, like, you know, there's like an episode where I think they all have lights on their heads that are like indicating like, oh, like I'm tapped into the system. So they'll be like, oh, that guy he's not tapped in, so you can't leave your phone because they won't notice you're not tapped in, and then, or they're tracking you, you know what I mean? There's so much, like, I don't know, I think that's gonna be, it's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah. So how are you like with your phone and social media and stuff like that? Are you glued to it?
Yeah, I mean, especially glued to the phone, you know. It's like, I feel like half my job is selling and calling, and, you know, so like if I'm not like on conference calls with this person or this art dealer or manager or somebody, you know, I'm on social media. And lately I've been literally deleting it like deleting Instagram off my phone because I'm just like sick of it. Because it's one of those things that like you snowball into it. It's like you get a text and then you check it and then you close it and you quickly open Instagram and then you're like checking a message. And granted, though, it's unfortunate because 50% or more of my communication comes through Instagram DMs. Like I feel like I hardly text. Text is like strictly work and like certain people, but certain relationships that I have, like they literally just exist on Instagram, and that's like people
weird in itself.
People I see all the time. Like, you know, we were DMing today. I didn't have your number yet. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's normal that you're just
it's like, normal.
You're just like
we never just it didn't need to
exactly
to go there.
It's, you know, so obviously I'm not going to be able to delete it fully.
Well, mate, yeah, because I noticed you say I am deleting, so you're doing it multiple times, yes. Right? And what are you just realizing, like, fuck, I've got to get back on there, or is the urge is the addiction too strong? And by the way, I'm like, I can relate because
everyone can relate.
Yeah,
they'd be lying. They'd be lying if they said no.
Yeah,
it's kind of like, you know, I've just noticed, I've been conscious and like actually deleting it, like started it, but now I have it on my phone and I just don't look at it as much. You know what I mean? Like I'll try to limit it. I know there's like limits that you can put on your phone. Like actually they'll be like, you're only allowed 30 minutes. Like I think you really only need to check it like 30 minutes a day tops. You know what I mean? Like where you just go through your messages. Cause I mean, I do get quite a bit of communication through there. Like I said, like if I don't have it, it sucks because you might miss something, or, you know, miss a sale or miss something important. Because people don't know that it's deleted. That's the other thing, you know.
Yeah. And that's just trying to keep up with people, like getting at you know, reaching out to you. But then the whole other side of it is like posting, man. And I don't know how seriously you take it, but yeah, well, so like here at Secret Wars, you know, I'll quite often do a lot of the posting, and even just, you know, just having an ounce of like, okay, I want this to be a certain way. It takes up a lot of time to, okay, what's the caption? Like, how are we sounding? What are we doing? Like, what are we saying? You know, it can like, it eats into your day.
Yeah.
And before you know it, you far exceeded the 30 minutes just by
yeah,
legit working, you know?
Yeah, you could be right. You're trying to think about the text and how exactly. There's a lot of things you have to plug in, and I understand that. I agree. It kind of like, it's too much. And I also like the whole, like Instagram as a whole, like there's a lot of artists with probably like 20 times as much followers as I have, and like they're not even working artists or full-time artists. Like the representation of like your followers based on like your career, like it bugs me because it's not one-to-one.
Yeah.
Yes, it's true in some cases. Like the biggest artists in the world, they have big Instagram followings, but it's like it's not representational, you know. And it's like a lot of it came with like when you got on the app. Like a lot of my friends are like influencer photographers and stuff. Like I know, like I hang out with a lot of photographers, and like half of them, like they got their following because they got on like the week it started.
Yeah.
And then they didn't get many more after that initial. They've had like the same number for like 5 years. You know what I mean? But like, so it's not one-to-one representational of like yourself as a creator. And person. I hate how much people relate that to like yourself.
They really do. I mean, I do it myself. I did that the other day when I was just we needed to get in contact with like someone. It wasn't even an artist. I can't remember who, and it doesn't matter. But I just caught myself thinking like, oh, they're a bigger entity than us. But it wasn't. It's exactly what you were saying. It was just a guy who does a thing that's kind of popular enough to get him like 70,000 followers.
Right.
He's not it's not a multifaceted brand with employees. And whether it is or it isn't, my point was, what a ridiculous thing to enter my mind.
I can't wait till that goes away. They should just have Instagram without that. You just shouldn't say how many people follow you or not, or like just how like they remove the likes. They should remove all the rest of the stuff.
So when the
world would change. The literal world would literally like freeze probably.
Yeah.
Because some people are so obsessed. Like I have friends that are so obsessed with it, you know, or like they'll hit you up. I'm sure you guys get that. I don't know if you ever unfollow people. I do. And they'll hit you up and be like, oh my God, you unfollowed me? And I'll be like, do a better job at your social media, and then I won't unfollow you.
Yeah, I do. I get the fear as well of, you know, you unfollow someone because you're like, I haven't spoken to this person for a little while. And then sure enough, a little while later, They pop into your DMs, and you're there talking to them, and I'm like, are they going to realize that I've unfollowed
half
them?
the reason that they know is because they have another app that tells them who unfollows them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't take the time to sit through my followers and watch who's there. Like, obviously I look at people who look at my stuff. You know, I see the likes, I see the comments, but I'm not like sitting there paying attention, like grooming every single person that, you know, sweating over, you know, it's too much. It's like literally insane, and it's a non-representational world that we've all created, and now we're living in it, so we're stuck.
Yeah.
We're stuck here.
What you're saying is true, man. It's like little kind of alterations to a fucking app do change the world, because that is the world. You know, it's the online world. But you were talking about the followers thing, but with the likes, that hasn't already happened, has it?
It has,
happening.
But apparently
I'm still
some
seeing
people,
likes.
Same. I still see likes, but other people don't. It's weird. I don't know why or
like
how that happens.
Beta testing.
But yeah, some people do not. It just says like so and so liked it and many others. Like it'll say like your common people, like your common interests, like secret walls and then if it's thousands, it says secret walls and thousands of others liked it. It doesn't say like 79,055.
Okay,
42.
but then what is? Because I assumed that this was like Instagram sort of doing their bit for mental health, right? That's how it was kind of like.
I think it is.
But I mean, if it still says thousands, all you're doing is kind of like simplifying the nomination. Is that right? It's just counting up instead of counting up in ones.
Right.
It's counting up in thousands.
And
What's the difference?
I don't know. And the other thing is like the verified badge. I know like 20 people that have paid for that thing.
Yeah.
And it's like at one point, like you're paying. Some people are stupid enough to pay like a couple $1,000s for like a little blue circle.
Who are they paying?
People like if they have connects at the company, or like some people know another loophole. I don't know. I've heard a couple different schemes, but it's you in the end like you gotta feel really silly that you're paying for like a little blue circle on an Instagram app, on an application that doesn't exist. It's not a real thing.
Yeah.
It's not going to generate. I mean, yes, it's business, but it's also not like, again, one-to-one business. You're not like, you could be popping on Instagram, spending all your time. That's the other thing. Like, you got to paint. You're not, you know, you could be super successful on Instagram, but that's a full-time job.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to actually make work, you know, like, some people on Instagram, they're just super popping and super active and comment on everyone's thing and super positive, and
they're good at Instagram.
Yeah, but they're not actually good
doing
artists.
Anything.
So get out of here.
Yeah.
You know, it's like leave room for people that are actually like, creating stuff. Like that's the focus. Like I wake up every day to paint new stuff and to try to make new things and beat myself, not like, you know, judge or be based on everyone else's like input.
I'm with that, man. It's like you've got to have a product, you know, you've got to have a passion. And cool, like I use Instagram. I think using that to kind of record it and amplify it, you have to. That's great, but when that becomes the focus more than like whatever it is you're into, then I think that's where I have an issue with it. Not that other people do it, they can do what they want, but for me it's like I remember when like Bitcoin was becoming a thing, and my mate Jack, he started investing in Bitcoin, and he started like, you know, his shares were going up, and I was getting real excited. Like, my point is that I suddenly realized, like, do you know what? I can't be fucked to try and make money for money's sake. You know, like the Instagram thing, to like get popular in Instagram using Instagram. I don't want to make money using money. I want to have my passion, and if it makes me money, great. And I want to have my passion, and if it gets me followers, great. But I don't want to like, you know, skirt the system and like hack it like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
because you could be a comedian, like, you know, if you're just like a funny person and you're cool, like, and you know how to create good little videos, like that's gonna make you popular on this application, not the thing that you're supposed to be representing. It's the paintings or the music or whatever you're doing. Yeah. You know, like Dylan Francis, he's like super popular on social media, but like, is he actually a good musician, or does he actually like, you know, I'm not a fan, or I don't listen to that kind of music, so I don't, but I kind of know that he doesn't really do that stuff. He's just really funny. So people, you know what I mean? It's like not representational.
Yeah.
I don't know, it bothers me.
Called out Dylan Francis there.
I know. I really did. His name hasn't come out of my mouth in a while. But I was just thinking about that.
You know, it's like, I don't know, like Dylan Francis.
I have a personal vendetta against Dylan.
I don't know, just off the top of my head, Dylan Francis. Yeah, mate, whatever. Like, fuck Dylan Francis, all that. No, I'm kidding. Do you know, I think I know that guy through another guy. So, big up Dylan, if you're listening. Mate, that threw me. But yeah, and social media addictions is what we're talking about.
Let's just talk about Dylan Francis. I don't know. He has a show coming up in Chicago. That's how I thought about him, because I painted a mural at this venue.
Oh, look at you backtracking. He's got a show. Now doing a bit of promo for him. Nah, he's got a show.
Know. He's got a show on the 29th. No, I'm kidding, but who knows?
Yeah, mate. Well, that's that. That's Dylan Francis. But I'm also interested in, so we're talking about social media addiction, but this is one thing that we were talking about before. It's like, for me personally, you were saying everyone's addicted to social media, right? And I kind of agree. And I think that a lot of people are maybe in denial, like that they're not completely fucking addicted to their phones. The amount of like family members and you know, friends that I know that just think they're not addicted, but it's like, dude, you're sitting there like glued to your phone. And I'm included, like, I do this as well. Mm-hmm. But does your addiction, do you see that elsewhere? Because I see the exact same thing in like fucking everything else. Do you know what I mean? Like alcohol. I haven't drunk for like 70 days, and that's because I'm really extreme with it. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'll go full force, and you know the effects of that aren't always brilliant. But then if I'm not drinking, I'll have the same kind of energy will be fueled into like drinking fucking fizzy drinks or like eating Kit Kats.
Something.
Oh, I love a Kit Kat, mate. What, like, you know, what's the deal with you on that? Can you relate?
I mean, kind of similar. I have not officially been sober, but I've been kind of dancing with the idea. A lot of friends and key people in my life already are doing it, and it kind of just seems like it's, you know, sometimes when you just do something too much, you know, like you lead to the point where you're like, oh shit, like this is, you know, something's wrong, or why am I doing this? Same like Instagram, and maybe I've gotten to that point where I'm finally like, fuck it, why am I doing this stupid thing? You know, same thing's kind of been happening with drinking. I'm not like thankfully I'm not like a everyday drinker. Like I'm not like a lot of artists like drink and paint, like that's like their thing. Like that's not, I don't drink and work ever. But thankfully though, but that I've been feeling that as well, because like you said, it's like 0 or 100. Like I have no middle ground. When I go out to dinner, I'd rather drink a juice or like a pop, like Coke. You know, like that's my preferred beverage. I don't drink alcohol for the taste. I really honestly don't thoroughly enjoy it, but I still do, and I'll drink 10 or 15 shots or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I go for the gold, and it's like I don't necessarily trust myself in that state and think that it's good for me to be there. Like it's fun sometimes, but it definitely causes issues and things happen, or you make mistakes. Like, you know, I want to be conscious of myself always, you know, like I don't want to get too comfortable and let myself slide. And if that means like cutting out drinking, then like you bet I'm going to do it. Yeah. You know, like, and that's the thing. Like, yeah, I'll drink wine maybe if like me and my girlfriend are going to dinner or watching TV. Like, yeah, sure, I can like have a sip of wine, but like I don't think I should be getting blackout drunk anymore. You know, I'm like an adult, and like I feel like I'm scared of myself. You know, in that essence, like I don't know it's possible. I'm quite rowdy.
Scared
like,
what you'll wake up to.
Exactly, or you know, it's not worth it. You know, not worth potentially risking your normal life, your regular life, because you could really do something that could ruin your entire life, and you would never have done that if you were sober. You know what I mean? No chance. But like
100%, man.
And it's like just being smart, you know. And like I see other people doing it, and it seems like not a bad idea.
Yeah, I'm with you. Full on.
You're doing it though.
Yeah, I'm doing it, man. It's good.
So that's a long time.
It is. But I think you definitely need to have you know, some other kind of passion or thing to fuel that energy into, you know? So like if you're not really into anything, then who gives a fuck if you wake up the next day like hung over to fuck? It doesn't matter.
Right.
If you are doing something, you know, you're passionate and you've got projects that are kind of, you know, bleeding from one day to the other, it's really a great thing for me personally to like wake up and be like, oh, I can get stuck in, you know?
That's a natural way to do it. Exactly. Like plan objectives that are very early in the morning, like join like a thing, like, you know, like if you join a soccer league or something that practices Sunday mornings, then you're always like, oh man, I got a little excuse, like, man, like, you know, like, oh, I got to do soccer tomorrow, or I can't go to that party because I'm doing this yoga class. I don't do yoga, but you know what I mean? Like that sort of thing, like that's better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's also just something different. I've been through my 20s. I've been partying. I've been, you know, I've done all that shit. And now I'm kind of like, you know, maybe just ready for something different, something more serious.
Yeah.
I will say I don't really get like the negative effects of hungover. Sometimes I feel better sometimes. I know that sounds crazy.
I feel better if I don't stop.
True.
I feel better.
Sometimes like after a big night of partying and like other things and drinking involved as well, like I'll feel better the next day and like almost like inspired and like more. Maybe it's because I like relaxed and had fun, so now it's like, okay, it's time to like get back into work, you know? It's like, let's go, like let's do this.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but obviously I've had horrible hangovers and like things have happened, but not every time. I feel like slightly blessed, or you know, I can bounce back.
Yeah, and you know, I think people are different, right? Everyone has different experiences, but for me, it's rare that happens for me. But it's interesting what you were saying about being like all or nothing. This is something I realized just really recently that I just am not. I have no interest in having a couple of drinks. So you know, and obviously if people do, that's great for them. You know, just want a couple of drinks, like to take the edge off, or whatever the kind of cliche sayings are. But for me, I would rather be like focused and completely sober than a couple of drinks in and feeling a little bit groggy. So that's what I realized. But the idea of drinking so much that you like alter your state, you know, and do other drugs and stuff like that, to me is what's kind of appealing. But obviously the dark side to that is that you can push it too far to the point where you feel like shit, you know, mentally and physically, you know. So I'm with you. It's like I'm definitely kind of over that. But I will admit, like, if someone could be like, you can go out, have the most insane night, and there will be no physical or mental repercussions, I'd be like, hell yeah.
That'd be amazing. Yeah,
let's do it. But then the other side of it, which you also touched upon, is, what you're doing, like how you're acting when you're like that. And it's so true, man. I was saying this to you earlier in the car. You know, I'm not sure if I've ever really done anything that's that, like, immoral sober. Mm-hmm. And I've done, like, plenty, you know, when I've been completely, like blackout drunk. You're a different person. You don't give a shit about yourself or other people, you know. You're just like bowling through the night, like, fuck it, you know.
One time I let off one of those big spray cans, the ultra wides, in my bedroom.
On purpose or by mistake?
On purpose.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good idea.
What do you mean? You just held that, like?
I was talking about it, and like we were talking about it, and I had it there, and I went, and I fucking let it rip, and a couple drips got on like a sick Pantone piece I had. Got all over my ceiling, and the floor, my furniture. It's on my bed right now, I think. And
I bet you any money that when it happened, you were like, ha 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 ha.
Yeah, I was like, oh, sick.
And then I also bet you some more money that the next morning you were like, why the fuck did I do that?
It was a quick spritz, but it was still enough that it did.
Still enough to ruin a fucking expensive painting.
Yeah, I got it off though, because there's glass in front of it. But still, silly. I never would have let that off go in my normal state of mind.
But of course you wouldn't. That would have been mad. And you know, and if you've been there, you were with other people. Were you on your own?
No, I was with a bunch of people.
And they were all drunk and they all thought it was funny. But if you were in there,
some of them were like, you shouldn't have done that. I was like, yeah. And my girlfriend was probably trying to stop it, and I was like, no, let me do it. Like, let me do it.
No, this is the best idea. No, yeah, that's what it's like, man. But if you lot were all sober, they'd just be like, no, you idiot.
Yeah, silly idea.
And you'd be like, yeah, it is silly, right?
Oh man.
So you're thinking of ditching the drinks for a bit?
Yeah.
Mate, step into my sober world.
Getting there.
I need some fucking sober friends.
I know. We can go.
I don't do anything.
Go to the park.
It's boring.
We can go play tennis.
Go play tennis
at the beach.
You into tennis?
No.
Come play football. Come play soccer. Mate, this is Harvard Heights FC. It's mine and Terry Guy's soccer team.
Sick.
And we are about to play some pickup games, so you should come and play.
I'm down. I like the black and white uniforms.
Yeah.
It's got to. That's the. I always said if I had a sports team, definitely be black and white.
Well, seat
like the
Raiders.
The Raiders have the sickest colorway.
Yeah, they do.
They look so much meaner. It's like usually like blue and orange. Like that's not that cool.
It is. It's like the uniform of like bad guys in like Disney movies, black and white. It's some of the
inspiration.
Yeah, man. Well, we want to do this. I thought this was a great idea to get like old like vintage Raiders jackets, hats. What else? San Antonio Spurs. Anything that's kind of like black and white. Mm-hmm. Is Spurs black and white or black and silver? Well, whatever. It's close enough.
Silver can make it in the mix.
Yeah.
Silver can stay.
So I want to get a bunch of that stuff and just like tweak it, fuck with it, and I don't know, sell it, display it, point at it.
Or the uniforms. You could just use other teams that are black and white uniforms, and then it'd be like a combo.
Yeah. Oh, we want to cut them up and stitch them together.
That's even fancier. Even just like the black team wears all the black, and then like whatever the white. If you're like away or home, like then.
Well, mate, you need to follow Harvard Heights FC and see what we've got going on over the next
I'll get on the game.
few weeks.
Do you
and
wear
come and
shin
play
guards
soccer.
Or no shin guards.
Nah, we do
I think you should. I get a little crazy.
Oh really?
I think you should instate the shin guards. We'll see though.
That sounds like a personal threat.
You probably want me on your team.
Yeah, mate. What we'll do is we'll just as long as we got Terry in defence, he's like a pit bull.
Okay.
Yeah.
He'll hold it down.
He's a solid lump. Do you know what I mean? Once he gets going as well, man, boy, can that boy move? Honestly, once he picks up that speed, you want to get out of the way of that.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll need the shin pads
exactly.
for that.
Yeah, you gotta better play it safe.
But come and play, man. Come and play. And look, seeing as I am sort of doing some shameless plugs for the greatest football team on the planet, dude, is there anything happening that people need to know? You know, feel free to kind of plug some shit.
I mean, there's always so much going on.
Just check the fucking Instagram,
I'm in the midst of like 20 projects right now. One I'm really excited about. I'm doing this marathon in Chicago. It's put on by Bank of America. It's like a 13.1 marathon.
What do you mean? You're running in it, or you're?
I am gonna run in it.
But you're also working.
So like my stuff's gonna be on the medals. It's gonna be on like the hats. I'm gonna do the raceway like in chalk. I'm gonna chalk spray like a sick ass mural as you're coming towards the end. I'm like super jazzed about it. I'm totally running this marathon because it's like I have to.
Are you not gonna be so tired from doing all that work that you're not gonna be able to run it?
I'm gonna
have you run marathons before?
No, and I mean I'm not gonna run. I can run, but it's gonna be like more of like doing it for fun. Like I'll probably like have my friends come. Like it's gonna be more of like doing it. I'm not gonna like come.
You're gonna do. Are you gonna do the whole thing though?
Fuck yeah! I mean it's 13.1 miles, so it's like a walk, light jog kind of thing.
Mate, I've got a lot of respect for you, but if you still think that you're having
having
fun by the time it's done, I will be very impressed.
I can't be on the medals and not participate.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
So I'm doing that.
Wait, where is which
Chicago.
marathon? So is it like the Chicago marathon?
It is, but it isn't. The Chicago marathon it's a Chicago half marathon because the Chicago full marathon is 26.2 miles.
Yeah. It's a half marathon. I mean, dude, it's still a feat to run that. 13
miles a minute.
I think you can have fun doing a half marathon. Full marathon, no fun for you, my friend.
Definitely not.
Stay away from them.
Yeah, I mean, it got some other releases coming up, and the 420 thing. So, lots coming about, but nothing.
On Instagram at Lefty out there.
Correct. My website is www.covereverything.co.
mate. Cover everything in the marks, formerly known as squiggles.
It's official as of today. Marks
In the marks. Well, look, I tell you what. When I get my new car, I definitely want one of those little decals.
Sick.
So the marks can like be growing out the exhaust or something like that.
Please.
All right, mate. Look, thanks for coming on, man. I really enjoyed that chat, and I think we smashed it.
Sick. Thank you. Dope.
Peace.
Thank you.